session. All right, so time is up. I'd like to show you this very interesting clip. I just watched this morning, the news. It's on the news today. Sorry, yesterday.
About the
Yesterday. Huh?
About the antidepressants
No,
and
no.
meditation.
Oh yeah, you got that. Oh, you watched that too?
I saw it too, yeah.
Oh, that's pure nice. Let me share with you the screen. Hi, and Stephen. Can you hear? And Stephen?
Yes, mô Phật thầy, khỏe thầy.
Oh, we have Mr. Sam here too. We can spread out. Yeah, can spread out. We have some space here. Yeah. Yeah. And Stephen, can you see? Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Oh, good. Make sure. Can you hear? Can you hear him and Stephen?
Very glitchy.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I have to agree. Little glitchy, but just I'm in the middle of a Zoom.
Okay.
Patient, and as Ann Thompson explains,
Can you hear better? And Stephen?
Yes, a little bit, yes.
A little
Yes.
bit. That's max already. All right. Good. Okay.
results may surprise you.
This is how Olga Cannistraro deals with her anxiety disorder, practicing mindfulness when fear and self-doubt threaten.
It just helps me in a way show up for myself in a difficult situation.
It's helped her for a dozen years. You get self-control back.
It does, and even if I don't feel in control at the moment, at least I know that I can find it.
Now, the first clinical study to compare mindfulness and the generic version of the antidepressant Lexapro found mindfulness to be as effective in reducing anxiety.
There are people who don't want to take a medication for whom the meditation could be a nice option.
Dr. Hoagie said both reduce symptoms by 30%. The pill has potential side effects, including nausea, headaches, and sexual dysfunction, but mindfulness takes work.
The class actually was 2.5 hours a week, but then there was home exercises that we asked participants to meditate about 45 minutes on most days.
And there is cost. The generic version of Lexapro can run just under $113 for 2 months without insurance. Guided mindfulness can go as high as $1,000. But Dr. Hoagie hopes the study will change that.
Patients would like to, from what I've seen, take these classes, but they have to pay out of pocket. And there ought to be a way to have insurance covering some of this.
Cannistraro didn't participate in this study, but learned the same techniques to bring her life back into balance, restoring the power to care for herself. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
And up next, the remarkable discovery, a haunting piece of history found.
Okay, sorry. So what do you think?
Yeah.
This can replace the medicine now. And of course, for them, the class is charged from $200 to $1,000. That's a lot. It's commercialized now. So you can do by yourself at home. If you can make a commitment. 10 minutes.
Charges for their classes.
I know. This is, you can spend about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, up to 45 minutes. It's up to you. So you can have your own medicine. You are your own psychologist. And I'm teaching mindfulness practice at University of Houston, and some of my students, they wrote beautiful articles, analysis paper that relate to how meditation can change the brain. It can change the white matter and gray matter too. It's so effective if we regularly do meditation. You do by yourself if you know the techniques. So that's why now getting popular. This is very in the mainstream. So if you understand some basic principle and you incorporate with the practice, it will be useful. You can know about the MBSR. You know that No, you know MBSR. We talked about that before, right? Mindfulness based stress reduction, MBCT, mindfulness,
Cognitive therapy.
mindfulness
Mindfulness-based
based cognitive therapies, and ACT, not the ACT test, but the acceptance and commitment therapies. The other one is DBT, DBT. Right? So it's all kind of mindfulness-based therapies available nowadays for everyone. For anyone can do the practice. You don't need to be a Buddhist to practice. Anyone can do. Yeah. So this is useful. Yeah. Yes. You have a question? You follow, and Stephen, you can follow the video clip, right? And Stephen?
Yes, Mo Phật thầy, I understand.
Mr.
Yes.
Scott, you follow, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's so effective. It's so powerful if we spend more time for ourselves. And actually, at our center here, let me give you the announcement today too. So by December the 26th, 25th, we have the special celebration Amitabha Buddha, yeah, the little one, and 26th to as Monday, 26th to January the 2nd, we have meditation here every day from 8 to 5. For us, we wake up early, but for the public, you guys are welcome to come anytime, whether 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day, 2 days, it's up to you. So this is for you. If you want to come to sit with us, that's great. So usually at the end of the year, we have 1 week of meditation. Yeah.
So what's those dates again? I'm sorry.
December the 26th.
Day after Christmas.
Yeah, December 26th here. That's Monday.
I believe it'd be a much larger group as well.
Yeah, that's 1 week. Yeah, that's we do every year. You come on time. That 1 week. Yeah, so you can sit. Yeah, but we split out. Usually we sit about 40 minutes straight and 10 minutes of walking or 15 minutes walking and so forth. We have to, of course, we have breakfast, lunch and dinner too. So if you want to stay back to sit longer, you're welcome to do so. But otherwise, it's up to you.
And then other than that, though, you just have it every Friday, correct?
Yeah, every Friday here. That's what we practice here. Yeah, so as long as you know the technique, you can transform your own mind and it change the brain. That's why they call the term neuroplasticity. You heard about that term? That means our brain can be expand and can be shrink, depending upon how we practice. It's like a muscle, right? We can strengthen our muscle, or we can let this be weak. So depend upon us. So that's why we can do the mind training. It's so important, and this type of teaching that we discuss every Friday evening will enhance our practice meditation. Especially last week we talked about loving kindness. That's a universal value of every traditions, regardless of who we are. And if we incorporate loving kindness in our practice, that works too. One professor from Emory University in Atlanta, you know Emory, right? He developed this type of loving kindness meditation down there. It is feel more effective. And in Buddhism, there's many different ways for to do meditation. Breath meditation, loving kindness meditation, visualization of mandala. You know mandala, right?
Yes.
So all kind of meditation. There's no fixed rule. There's no good or bad techniques. Everything is up to us. So everyone has different appetites. Everyone have different skill. So someone like to visualize mandala, to visualize the flower, but someone like to follow the breath. Someone like to develop loving kindness when they do meditation. So one's different. So like you go to supermarket, you choose different items. So we alone cannot go there and buy everything. No, no. Whatever was the pick different items, different food that that fits to our appetites, our need to do the techniques of meditation. That's why you see nowadays this is that have been proven, not something that come from the sky, not the legend, not the what do you call the story, or legendary story and so forth. Okay, so last week we talked about mindfulness practice of loving kindness, protection by loving kindness, and some of us have read already. I just want to go over briefly. That's is one particular sutra is about Metta Sutra. It talks about 11 advantages, but actually it's more than that. Yeah. So if we practice loving kindness toward other people, so we sleep in peace because we don't have any fighting, any argument, any conflict with others. So our mind more peace when we sleep in. So when we wake up in peace too. When we have a dream, there's no evil dreams, there's no nightmare. If we have compassion toward everyone else, and when we have compassion, everyone loves us, right? We become dear to all the people. In Buddhism, we talk about non-human beings. That's just like invisible beings, like celestial beings. In the other tradition, they call angel, or some kind of gods. They have the kind of compassion. They recognize us. Here, the God in Buddhism, we talk about celestial beings. There's many levels, many difference of celestial beings. They will protect us. They will help us. Like if we see someone is so nice, they're so compassionate, we will try to help them out too. We try to protect them too. Neither fire, nor poison, no weapons. What do you think can harm them? What do you think? Is that possible?
Well, so, I'm helping this other monk teach him to teach loving kindness in English.
Okay.
He knows how to teach it.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyways, his addition to the loving kindness story is he said I guess the original Sangha went to the Buddha and said they were going to go meditate in this big forest, and they go out in the big forest, and translation's a little tough, but I don't know if it was like demons or evil spirits were scaring all the monks, and so all the monks go back to the Buddha and said, no, we want to meditate here at the temple. There are these spirits that are, or whatever that was bothering them. And so the Buddha taught them the loving kindness meditation, which includes yourself, like a teacher or benefactor, family, friends, adversaries, and eventually it goes to all the beings in all the realms. And so once the Buddha taught the monks this meditation, that these evil spirits that were harassing them out in the forest recognized their kindness and their goodwill, and of course didn't bother them.
Mm-hmm. Is that true? What do you think? If we spread love and kindness and compassion to the snake, can we be safe? Really? Don't
Yeah.
try.
Yes, yes.
Kindness is to not touch it and harass it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's,
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Scott. Yeah.
well, I've learned from my own experience. I'm right now in a very interesting situation where a person that hurt me deeply from my past, I happen to be in her home, and she did a lot of nasty things in the past, but the one thing I've learned through this is that she has as much right to live as I do. And sometimes learning to let go is the best and sometimes the most challenging thing that you can do.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yes, Sam, what do you want to say?
I was thinking, we were talking about like animals and things, there's of course lots of people who are skilled at dealing with animals who would otherwise be dangerous, but because, it's not something like a normal person should do if they can avoid it, but people who do it professionally can like approach like tigers or snakes or whatever without getting hurt normally, and usually like they always approach it just very calmly and not upset it, I think that's one thing I thought about. But I was also thinking about a couple of Buddhist stories. There's of course the story where the robbers or whoever try to attack Lord Buddha, and just because he's like the Buddha, like they stop and they become monks. And there's another story that's not about the Buddha, but it's about a monk. There's like a story about a monk that I always think about when I think about like violence and things like that. This monk is like traveling, and there's like a robber on a horse with like a sword or a spear or whatever, who comes to the robber and says, or who comes to the robber, comes to the monk, and he says, he tries to, harass him or whatever, and he says to the monk, he says, I'm the kind of guy, I could kill you right now. I could just stab you and it wouldn't even bother me. And the monk responds, he's like, I'm the kind of guy that you could stab me and it wouldn't even bother me.
The one thing that I've found though is if you have an enemy, you gotta remember that they themselves have problems. Name a human that doesn't have a problem. And you need to keep in mind that as you have problems, so do they. So it's good to have compassion for them as well. Even if you don't like them, even if you hate them, the fact that you are holding on to these things, it's more hurting you than it is them.
Yeah. Okay. And so in Buddhism, when we talk about the fire or the poison or weapons, usually this is the metaphor ways of explanation. The fire represent the anger, right?
Yeah.
When we have anger toward other people, we burn ourselves, we burn others. The poison, and so they come from the anger, or come from the craving, even the weapons, right? Because of anger, right? We use anything to harm others. So that's why here, in the sense that neither fire, nor poison, nor weapons can harm him. That means the fire of anger, the fire of jealousy, the fire of craving would not harm him because he didn't have that type of anger in his mind. It remains in all the times. Yeah. His mind is quickly concentrated. If our mind calm, our mind compassionate, our mind is easy to concentrate it, easy to focus. Otherwise, if we have all kind of mental fluctuation, all kind of emotion, not easy. Yes.
I've personally found, and I only realized this recently, that don't take sides. Do your best not to take sides in whatever you find yourself in.
Yeah.
Just the best way I can put it is the Buddha said this is, and then other people might say, this is bad, this is good, this is horrible, this is. But the object is to stay at the is and do your best not to get involved in
Yeah.
this is bad, this is good,
Yeah.
this is. Don't worry
So,
about the rest of it.
Yeah, thank you. So here is a he died unconfused. If we have the calmness, if we have the kind of compassion, yeah. If he attained no higher, he is born in the Brahman realm. That means the highest level of gods as a celestial realm. So that's why it's just that's why it's so important to develop that type of loving kindness.
Is a Pure Land considered Brahma realm?
No, it's quite different. Brahma realm in Buddhist view is still reborn the cycle of rebirth.
Okay.
Pure Land is quite different. When you're born there, eventually become Buddha.
Right.
That's
Okay.
all. That's different. Yeah, but here the king asks, all right, this is the 11th benefit of developing loving kindness, compassion. But he asked where then was young Sama, who dwelt full of loving kindness, hit by poison arrow by fire by King Piliyaka. You know that story? So again, so can you read this the next one, please?
O King, these 11 virtues of loving kindness are dependent on love itself and not on character of the person who practices it. Sama practiced the meditation on loving kindness all the time. However, while he was collecting water, his mind lapsed from meditation, and at the moment King Piliyaka shot him, so the arrow was able to hurt him.
Meditation.
So I guess when he lost his focus, that left him open.
So
Don't unguard your mind.
This is one story that a queen and her maiden followers was burned to death, but somehow because of her loving kindness and compassion, they passed away peacefully. And after that, they was born in one of heaven, and that's one of the story. Yeah. So sometimes if we lack of meditation, lack of concentration, it be helpful. But again, in Buddhist view, whenever we have that type of anger, we just burn ourselves first before we burn others, before we harm others. David, can you speak this? So the procedure is that we read paragraph by paragraph. I want to take turn and we can learn together.
Why did Devadatta prosper? Although you say that good deeds lead to rebirth in heaven, for fortunate human births, the evil deeds lead to rebirth in state of misery. For unfortunate human births, Devadatta, who was full of evil qualities, was often born in a position of superiority over the Buddhasata, who was full of good qualities. Thus, Nagasena, when Devadatta became the family chaplain of Brahmadatta, the king of Benares, then the Buddhasata was branch outcast. This is one case in which the Buddhasata was inferior to Devadatta in birth and repetition.
You can stop there. You understand this about? Yeah. You understand? In Buddhist view, we believe in reincarnation. Right? We believe in that we came here not not without any cause. We came here because we have been born in limitless lifetime. We have accumulated all kind of karma, good deed, bad deed, and so forth. That's what we hear. And after we're done with this life, we move on to the next life. And that what they call samsara, cycle of birth. So one more time, I will show you the chart. So here, yeah. So that is what unenlightened being.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we here, heavenly beings is many levels of heaven. Human here, animal here, we understand, and we recognize hell beings there too. Some kind of ghosts there. Hashura just means the fighting God. So again, no matter where we are, we roll in the cycle. We will depend upon our karma. So in Buddhist view, yes, it's favorable if we were born in human realm or in some celestial realms. If we born in animal realm or some kind of invisible being like force and Holy Ghost, it's not easy for us to endure the sufferings. Not talking about going down to hell. So here, what they call unenlightened beings, and the purpose for the Buddhist practice is to get out of this type of silver cycle, so that we can be free, so that we won't be born again. So in the meditation practice, we can be enlightened once, like Arhat, Bodhisattva, or Buddha. So in the Southern tradition, it aims for become Arhat, to get out of the cycle.
Kind of like that in all like that.
Yeah, you won't. Yeah, you get out of the cycle. Yeah.
Get out of that cycle too.
You do meditation. You have to do meditation to transform your mind, to let go of your attachment. But in higher tradition, we aim for even become a Buddha. Right. So that's a different aim, but it's the same similar way of practice. So that's why go back here. It talk about Devadatta. Devadatta. You remember the story of Devadatta? Can you tell them what's about him?
So Devadatta was the Buddha's cousin. And so there's lots of stories of when they were children together. And then once he became the Buddha, Devadatta joined his Sangha. And there's a lot of stories of Devadatta trying to create schisms, trying to harm the Buddha, all that because he wanted to have control of the Sangha.
So here, we talk about the king question. Why did Devadatta, that's mean the Buddha opponents, prosper? So he mentioned about one of the past life Devadatta. He's talking about the past life. Yeah, of course, I know people in the West, it's not easy to accept the past life, right? But in the East, this is common sense. Yeah. So Devadatta, when he was in the past, he was a king. He has more quality. He probably captain of a king. But Bodhisattva doesn't mean the Buddha past life was a rich outcast, it means the poor one. So this one the case that Bodhisattva was inferior to Devadatta in birth and reputation. So the king have a question: if Devadatta was a bad guy in this lifetime, so how could he have good life in the past?
Well, he had a higher rebirth than
Why
the
is
Buddha,
that?
and then just I guess because he had accumulated good karma, and then I guess started making some bad choices.
Yeah, in Buddhism, it's like in life, right? In economic, right? It's go up and down. There's no straight line. Right? Sometimes we rich, sometimes we poor, sometimes we have good mood, sometimes we have low mood, and so forth. And so in life, we may be born as human. When we born up there, we may go down there. So depend upon our karma. And even we can change our gender too, from male to female, from female to male. So this is interchangeable. This is because life is not static. Life is changeable. That's why in this one of the Tao, that the king, basically this two try to talk about the conversation between a holy monk and a Buddhist king. He is a Greek king. So he asked a question. So you say, if Devadatta is bad guy, how could he has more quality or more reputation than the Bodhisattva in Buddha past? Probably because he accumulate some kind of good karma in the past. Do you want to read this again?
Okay, again, the Devadatta became a king, a mighty monarch of the earth, and the Bodhisattva was an elephant. In that case too, the Bodhisattva was inferior to Devadatta, and in many other cases too.
So in this case, right, Devadatta, he was king, right? And the Buddhista is just elephants. So he asked, right? It was
as you say, O king, then it follows that good and evil bear equal fruit. Nay, not so, O king. Devadatta was opposed by everybody, but no one was hostile to the Bodhisattva. Yet, when he was a king, Devadatta protected and served the people and gave gifts to recluses and Brahmins according to his inclination. Of no one it can be said, O king, that without generosity, self-restraint, observance of precepts, and other virtues, he can reach prosperity. Nevertheless, all beings who are swept along in the endless round of rebirths meet with pleasant and unpleasant companions, just as water rolled along in a river meets with pure and impure things. However, the comparison between the Bodhisattva and Devadatta should be regarded in the light of the unimaginable length of the round of rebirths. And it should also be remembered that the Bodhisattva was in heaven for aeons, while Devadatta boiled in hell.
You understand, right? Yeah, you understand, right? Yeah. So sometimes, right, it's not static. It's just impermanent. Sometimes people are more poor than us, and sometimes people are more richer than us. Sometimes people are have more power than us, and vice versa, depending upon our karma. And if we look at our life too, right? Since we were born up to now, right? Sometimes we rich, sometimes we poor, sometimes we have some started in society, community, sometimes we lost though. Or if you have stopped, right? You go up and down. So that's a life. So we cannot compare. So that's why in Buddhism, the Buddha encourages us to create more good karma. So that at least when we live as human here, we can enjoy the good karma, good retribution. Otherwise, not easy. And even last time we talked about the price of the racing horse, more than $1 million, right? It's more valuable than someone that take care of the horse. You need to check it out, right? So that's depend. So that's so important, and that's why this Arhat mentioned that sometimes the Bodhisattva enjoy his life in heaven, and sometimes because they were that very bad karma, he boy in hell there. Just up and down, not static. Yeah. And Stephen, you like to read next, please?
Yes, small pocket.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me move out this one. Yeah. The weakness. Oh, I can read this. Yeah.
The weakness of woman. It is said that a woman will always commit adultery if she finds a suitable lover. Yet, Mahasoda's wife refused to do any wrong, even though offered 1,000 pieces of gold. Amaradevi was virtuous. Through fear of censure in this world and through the fear of suffering in purgatory, and because she loved her husband and despised immorality and treasured virtue, for all these reasons, the opportunity seemed not fit to her. Her husband, Mahasoda, was an ideal man, so she found no other man comparable to him. So for this reason, too, she did no wrong.
You understand the story, right?
In a sense, I guess, is that she don't feel that adultery obviously knows that it's the wrong thing to do, no matter what the circumstances, and then that following, loving your husband and doing the right thing will always outweigh, just following or any opportunity that's offered you, whether it be gold and all that stuff, doesn't matter. So, motherfucker.
Yeah, so it's happened to everyone, not male or female, right? Not
Yes, go both ways.
not old and young. So in Buddhism we cannot generalize anyone else, right? Okay, that's what people bad and that's what people good. No, it's good or bad depend upon the state of mind. Yeah. So whether we are male or female, young or old, we make some mistake. Right. So that's why we talk about this lady. She virtuous. So she loved her husband and she would not do anything wrong. So that's it's happened to every one of us if we have the type of moral, if we have the type of virtue.
Ananda's courage. It was said by the Blessed One that the Arhats have laid aside all fear. Yet when the intoxicated elephant, Dana Palaka, was charging towards the Buddha, 500 Arhats fled, leaving Ananda alone to protect the Buddha. If Arhats are free from all fear, why did they flee?
We can read this, we can understand this law. Go ahead. Yeah.
They did not flee because of fear, O king. The Arhats are free from fear. They only moved aside so Ananda's devotion to the Buddha would be manifest. They realized that if they didn't move, the elephant wouldn't be able to approach Ananda, who is not yet an Arhat, remained by the Buddha's side to protect him, and thus his courage and devotion were displayed. Because of this event, great masses of people were emancipated from the bondage of defilements. It was because they foresaw these advantages. So they moved aside for Ananda's sake, so that he could show his devotion to the Buddha. And
you know the background. You know background of this story. You know background of this story, right? No. So the background is Devadatta who tried to harm the Buddha. So he let go of the drunk elephants. So that drunk elephant could step on the Buddha to kill the Buddha. You know that story, right? Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I know about, when the elephant tried to attack the Buddha. But didn't harm him. I know that story.
Yeah, this is
The elephant is also a representation of the wild, of the untrained monk.
No, still that's a real story.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I know also, I'm saying also that
really drunk.
The really drunk elephant is also metaphorical.
Yeah, I'm not there.
Ananda is one of the Buddha's disciples' names, but the other word, Arhat, that means somebody who attained enlightenment.
So they're not being unenlightened rocks, would be the enlightened being moved aside so that a human would have the opportunity to play courage.
Right here.
Well, you're still a human when you attain enlightenment. Well.
Yeah, there's an image here. There's a famous one. There's the image here. So the drunk elephants dashed to the Buddha. So the Arhat stepped aside, and Ananda he's stood in front of the Buddha to attack, but actually Buddha what the Buddha used.
A wiser person notices that a child maybe needs an opportunity. I can intervene and correct, but I will stand back and allow this learning and opportunity to occur.
Yeah. For the Arhat, they would not have any kind of fear at all because no attachment to evil.
So wisdom is
Yeah. Okay, so that's a story about You might to read this. This is.
The Buddhist change of heart. You say that the Buddha is omniscient, yet when the company of monks led by Sariputta and Moggallana had been dismissed by him, the Sakyans of Katuma and Brahma Dahampati placated the Buddha with smiles. Did he then not know those smiles? If he did, then why did he need to be placated?
You understand that? No.
What is placated?
Placated has been convinced. Try some kind of convince, some kind of persuade, simulate, right? So the story actually I found this story is very interesting. Let me share with you. This story is very interesting here. It's okay here. This about this one. This kind of story. It talk about let's see here. How can you this the oh, okay, here. So the story is about a group of monks, right? So they pure new, so they follow two of the Buddha great disciple, Sariputta and Moggallana. So when they came to see the Buddha, they made a lot of noises, and the Buddha told them to get away, get out here. So, but a group of local people, they observed that, and somehow they went to see the Buddha, and they convinced the Buddha to accept them back, because they give the analogy that it's like a calf that without the mothers they would walk in the straight way, right? And they gave this kind of analogy of the small tree. They need to nourish that tree. They use that kind of analogy so that they can convince the Buddha to accept them back instead of tell them to go away. And after that, the Buddha gave them the analogy of four kind of dangers that the young monks need to deal with. So go back to this story. So this king, he knew the story, and he said that if the Buddha was omniscient, that means he has wisdom, why did he wait for those people to convince him to accept the young monk again? So that's what this means. Yeah. This one. The Tathagata.
Okay, was omniscient, yet he was conciliated by those smiles. It was by means of smiles that he himself had first preached that he was conciliated, and was being thus won over that he signified his approval. It was a king as when an attendant novice serves his teacher with alms food brought by the teacher himself, thereby
You understand that? You understand what's that? You understand the idea? No.
Repeat that.
Even though he was like happy to see the smiles, I guess when he talked about his I guess it was that he needed the back and forth with the monk to actually, even though I guess he was able to see it, he needed that like face-to-face confirmation of yeah.
Because of the if he first preached with the smile, I think that was going to do it. To me, it was like a verification that like this is how I this is the food I prefer, this is how I learned. And now to watch you bring back to me what I taught you, to bring back to me what I have prepared, or what food, I made. And then there was a need for an understanding now that the teaching was going off with the pattern or the life cycle was continuing correctly because it was returning back from the beginning. Like you would teach me something and then I would show up in what you had taught me, and so it confirms itself.
Sometimes like you as a teacher, right? Sometimes the student mess up, or you can get out of my room. Right? And but the principal come down or all the teacher come down, hey, please take care. You give him a chance. That's similar. Give him a chance. Give them a chance. So that's why he would have used that type of opportunities to teach them that he be stern, to be compassionate, but he should be he would be stern, to be strict, so that he can train them. Yeah. So it's applicable for our situation as a teacher, as a parents too, right? Sometimes the father is so stern or so strict on the children, right? But the mother had their shoulder, hey, come back here and say sorry to your dad. Your dad will take you in. That's a similar way. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's see the next one. Let's see. Yeah.
I'm going to 57. You're born to be death within my house arisen. Homeless, grief, and intimacy. This is the same religion.
You understand that?
No, I gotta take that one.
Think.
It's understandable? What do you think? What do you understand? Josh, do you understand this?
I think it's about attachment. Like your fear is born because you're attached to these things, and the house is just dust. Like it's always been dust. It will go back to being dust. And as soon as you don't have that, you're free from that fear of losing it.
Yeah.
You're only moving around. Like, you don't technically have a set base because you never know if you're gonna have that.
Here's one thing I like to mention is that in the past, even in India now, that people they respect someone that when they have families, when they were healthy, wealthy, but somehow they let go of everything. They become homeless people, not homeless here. That's different. Homeless here means that they let go of the material life to seek for a spiritual path. That's why they respect it in the East, especially in India. So don't mess up between homeless
Really?
over there. Yeah.
Or I guess you could probably call it renunciation.
Yeah, renunciation. That's what they call
Yeah, people like that. They on trailers, the population of trailers, there's nomads. That are technically homeless, but they're more like nomads, where they surrender all material things for the church.
Not because they destitute. That's when they are so poor that they live under the bridge. No, but they let go of their own wealth. They let go of the material attachment, so that they can work on their spiritual goal, spiritual path. That was what about.
Right.
So because whenever we have any kind of attachment, fear comes, right? Attachment our laptop, we concern that laptop will drop on the floor, and so forth, right? But if we don't have anything, there's no need for us to be afraid of. Yeah, so that's the meaning there. Yeah.
You know, like my cell phone died for like a few hours, and it's like, you feel that anxiety,
Yeah. Mrs. Scott, you want to read this one? You want to read next, this one here?
Who, me?
Yeah, if you want to read this two sentence, please. Yeah.
It's so small. I'm not sure I can.
Too small. Too
Yeah.
small for you to read. Okay, that's all right. Yeah, please. Oh, you read already?
I can do it.
Oh yeah. Sam.
What
Yeah.
book is it, by the way?
The debate
book?
of King Melinda.
Say that again.
The debate of King Melinda.
The conversation between a king, his name Melinda, and the holy monks. That's what they have this conversation about Buddha teaching. Yeah. So, can you see or no?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam, please.
Yeah, he also said, let the wise man have dwellings built and laws learned them therein.
Yeah, this one here.
If the former statement was made by the blessed one, then the latter must be wrong.
You understand that? You understand his argument? The first one would say that let go of everything. Listen here.
Yes.
The second part is say that let the wise man have dwelling built and not learn the man therein. Is it complicated? They come complete there?
No, I don't think so, because I mean, in the first one, it's about like, giving up attachment, like it's about like, it's more like a metaphor or like a simile about giving up attachment. And the other one, the other thing, he's like literally being like, just literally build a place for these people to study.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being sage and wise and being educated.
Anand, are you ready? Can you read too small for you, Anand?
I'll read.
Oh yeah. Yeah, please.
Yeah, too small for me, but I can listen to everything.
Yeah.
Okay, we made by the
Tathagata.
O King, that the first was inconclusive statement as to the nature of things and as to what it is proper for recluses to desire. However, the second statement was as concerning two matters only. The gift of a dwelling place has been highly praised by the Buddhists because those who have made such a gift will be delivered first, old age, disease, and death. Secondly, if there is a dwelling place, it is easy for those who listen to the Dhamma, visit the
Bhikkhu. Bhikkhu is monk. Yeah.
Whereas if they stayed in the forest, it would not be. However, it does not follow that the bhikkhu has a longing for a dwelling.
Okay. You understand clear now, right? You understand that or not?
I think I understand that.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
that they need it. They don't need it, but it's nice to have a place for them to go and to learn and everything. But it's not necessarily. It's not a must. So maybe they shouldn't actually yearn for it, but it's a blessing.
Yeah, one thing is that for the mendicant, right? They let go of everything, let go of the attachment, so that they can focus on their spiritual practice of meditation, for example. But the only thing is the second sense and say that like the lay people, they provide the house, they provide the lodgings, so the monks, and for lay people, for the monk to practice, for lay people to come to learn. Like here it's too cold to stay outside, right? Too hot and so forth. So that's why we stay indoor. It's convenient. But for the monk, make it better to let go of attachment. There's an idea there. So here you understand now, right? This conversation between the king and the monk. So the king pop up a lot of questions, right? Twist question, right? Is to ask the monk to respond. Okay, so let's just here.
Restraint of the stomach. The Blessed One said, do not be heedless in standing for alms. Be restrained regarding the stomach. However, he also said, there were times, when I ate a full bowl a full bowl of food or even more. This too is a double-edged problem.
Understand that?
So when they
Yeah.
So when they go out for alms, begging for their food. So what it is that it's the middle way, right? So you don't want to become an ascetic don't become an ascetic, go out, be homeless, live in the trees or whatever. Also don't attach to these things. So you can accept a certain amount of food, make yourself full, but overdoing it is also not good. So you need.
I may be wrong, but I have an interpretation. Basically, it means if you get a lot of food, that's okay. But if you get like a humongous amount of food, that's okay too. Just don't get attached to, oh yeah, I got a great amount of food here. But it happens. You might get a small amount of food, you might get a humongous amount of food, but the main idea is sustenance. Don't go, oh, I'm gonna get a humongous amount of food today and I'm gonna be good for about a week. You may not. It is what it is.
You like to read? Want to read? Yeah.
I don't like it.
Can you read? Yeah, go please ahead.
Both statements are correct, O King, but the former statement is inclusive and cannot be proved wrong. He who has no restraint as regards the stomach will kill living beings or steal for the sake of himself. It was bearing this in mind that the Blessed One said, do not be heedless in standing for all. Be restrained regarding this. He who has self-control can clear insight into the Four Noble Truths and fulfill the life of the truth. Didn't a mere parrot, okay, by his restraint, as to his stomach, shake the heaven of the 33 and bring down process the weight on him. However, when the Blessed One, there were times, when I ate a full bowl of food, or even more, it was concerning himself. He had accomplished all that he can be accomplished by restraint, and like a perfect gem that needs no more polish, he needed no more training.
The two sentences different, right? One is to ask for the strength of eating. One is the symbolic way expression. He accomplished things already. So Anand, you like to share anything about our conversation here, Anand?
It's a good conversation. I don't have any specific things to share. I just kind of curious. What is the sentence that say, "Shape of heaven of the 33"? What is the 33?
Oh, okay. So the story about I don't read this story yet, but the 33 heaven, that is one of the heavens that because of his practice in the past that move this celestial king to come down. That's what about. So in Buddhism, there's a lot of there's many levels of celestial being right here. There's a 33. See that 33 God. That is the level of 33 celestial beings. So their lifespan is 36 million years to compare with us. So this is a judge. The glorious one is 9 million years. So as for celestial beings, they live that long. Even talk about the other levels of celestial beings, they could live for trillion and trillion of years. But still, in Buddhist view, one day they have to revolve again in the cycle of rebirth. They would not stay there forever. Even someone go down to the hell, they will not stay there forever. One day they may get out of hell. It's just like in life, right? In life, sometimes we go up, sometimes we go down, right? In terms of money, in terms of wealth, in terms of status, and so forth. So that's what about. You follow Anh, right? So that's what
Yes.
about you. Okay.
Yes. I also interested in your perspective when we talked about the two sentences earlier about the homeless and the whole conversation about that, and then how the monks would let go of everything, to give up everything to become a monk and to develop the capacity to learn, to help others. But I know I start to realize, just kind of thinking about the teaching of Buddha, which is what we practice nowadays, where we tend to build a lot. We tend to build a lot of temple. We tend to build a lot of houses, that whole. So I have a conflicting in my head for our own religion and faith. So I'm just kind of thinking about that for myself, just reflection on Buddhism as a whole and as the current state of Buddhism. And we build a lot of temple everywhere. And how does that relate to what the true teaching of Buddha? And I'm just kind of reflection on that. That's all.
Yeah. So like to say that for lay people, they support the Sangha monastic communities to build the house, build the temple, and this is the community center. Like here, I don't have this luxury. I don't have this much money to build this temple. This comes from the effort, the generosity of the lay communities. That's why we can be here. Okay, so time is up. All right, thank you. So hopefully you can come back again. Please remember, okay? So December the 26th to January 2nd, you can come anytime during the day, during the week to do meditation with us. All right, thank you. Take care.
Good night.
Yeah, cảm ơn thầy. Bye bye.
Yeah.
So it's working.
Well,
It's working out. I need to pick something on it, make it work, but I don't.
thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Scott. Thank you.